Okay, so I finally found some free time to make a video. And I thought it would be funny to do a southern myth debunker, I guess, or a southern myth the truth about southerners or whatever. And all these myths that you hear about people who live in the South. I thought it would be funny to do something like that. So I read up some stuff, and here it goes. In Texas, we do not ride around on horses, first of all. That's the first big thing I hear whenever I went to New York a few years ago. And the very first question I got was, oh, do you lock your horse up in a stable when you go to school? And do you ride your horse to school and, tied up out back? I just want to let y'all know, I take a car to school every day, probably like you do. I don't ride a horse. I don't even own a horse. I live in an apartment, so that would be kind of hard to own a horse in an apartment. But no, I do not ride my horse to school every day. Y'all is a word. It's definitely a word around here. You're going to hear that a lot if you come visit Texas or anywhere else. Y'all is definitely a word. It's the equivalent to yous guys or whatever y'all say in the North or wherever you live. Y'all is a word. And if you hear, hey, y'all, come check this out, you might better move, because that's probably going to be the very last words you hear if they're doing something stupid. Not every Southerner owns a Jeep and rides, or a truck and rides around in the dirt or in the mud. I definitely would not do that. First of all, that's disgusting. That's a whole different story. There's definitely a difference between a hick, a hillbilly, and a redneck, and just somebody who is a Southerner like me. A hick is somebody that is going to be, and I'm not trying to stereotype anyone, I don't want to get any hate on this video, but a hick is someone that you would see, like, in a trailer park, wearing no shoes, with, like, a baby on their hip, and, like, drinking a Bud Light, and with a shotgun in their hand or something. That is definitely a hick. A redneck would be somebody that lives, like, on a ranch, in the country, and not everywhere in the South is country. I don't know if you know that or not. We have some cities like Dallas and Fort Worth and all those other places, but there is definitely cities, not just country, not just a ranch with a bunch of horses and pigs. That definitely is not, that's definitely stereotypical to think about. Not everyone in Texas has an accent. My accent I have is actually not a Texan accent. It's a Georgia accent. I'm from Georgia. So not everyone has an accent, first of all. I know a bunch of people that I meet that don't have accents in Texas. Ain't is a word, definitely. Ain't is definitely a word. There is absolutely nothing wrong with freaking barbecue. There's nothing wrong with bacon. There's nothing wrong with fried foods. Yes, we do have some healthy eating, but there's definitely nothing wrong with having some occasional barbecue or occasional Tex-Mex. I don't know if y'all know what that is. It's like a combination between, like, Texas food and Mexican food. It's really good. Definitely, if you come to Texas, you have to eat Tex-Mex. That's like, you have to do it, or else you didn't come to Texas. What else? Not everyone here is a redneck. Just like I said, not everyone here is a hick or a redneck or a hillbilly. Oh, a hillbilly is like, if y'all watch Duck Dynasty. Those are hillbillies. And I do not like that show. I don't like it. Don't give me hate. I don't like that show. Not everyone in Texas hunts. Not everyone in Texas owns a gun. Not everyone in Texas freaking hates Obama. Not everyone in Texas is like that. Don't let stereotypes reflect what you think about people from the South. And I know I'm speaking like directly from Texas, but I mean, it's really anywhere you go, that's always a stereotype, like, oh my God, people in the South are racist, or people in the South are own guns, and people in the South are gonna be banging on my door with a freaking KKK uniform on. No. That's definitely not how it is here. Definitely not. There's tons of minorities, and everyone mostly respects everyone as long as you respect them. Don't go knocking on people's front doors at 10 o'clock at night, because you probably will see somebody with a shotgun. Don't do that. It's not like everywhere else. We do have Southern hospitality, but when it comes to our families and protecting people, we are going to be protective over our families. I mean, I'm sure that's everywhere, but don't come knocking on someone's door in Texas asking for sugar at 11 o'clock at night, because I promise you they're going to be coming out with a shotgun, and it's not going to be a very pretty sight. Excuse me. We are educated here. We do go to school. I'm a full-time college student. I'm a sophomore. I make straight A's. Just because I live in Texas doesn't mean I like football. I hate... Daisy, shut up. Sorry, my dog is growling. I don't like football. I could care less for the Dallas Cowboys. I could care less for baseball. The Texas Rangers, I don't care. I don't hate it, but I don't watch it. So, that's another stereotype, I guess, all of y'all hear about Texas is the Dallas Cowboys. And everybody loves them. They're actually pretty sucky, if you ask me. But that's just me. Not everybody lives on a dirt road. We have some actual roads here. I promise. Not everyone runs around barefoot. I know I do, but not everyone does. I like to go around barefoot. I will admit that. Running around barefoot's the best. That's how I was raised. I mean, it was just... Well, and Georgia is a little bit different than Texas is, because in Georgia you have... I lived in a small town, and everyone took care of everyone. You weren't really like... You were everyone's kid, almost. Like, I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but you were everyone's kid. And if they saw you doing something that was bad, they would get on to you. And they would tell your parents, and by the time you got home from school, your parents already knew what happened from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. that day. Because you have everyone in that town who knows exactly who you are. But in Texas, well, where I live at least, is not like that. I live in a small town here in Texas, but it's not that small. It's actually growing a little bit. And, not everyone knows who you are. Not everyone cares to know who you are. So, it's a little different here. But Southern hospitality is a real thing. People in Texas in the South are a lot more friendlier than you're going to find in the North. I've been to the North, so don't tell me I don't know. I do know. There is some really mean people. I went to the Grand Central Station, and they had a pizza place, and their menu was like weird, and so I was trying to get this guy to help me read it, and he told me to open my eyes and read. So don't tell me I don't know, because I do know. Most people up there are pretty rude. And I mean, they know they could say this about us, but they got some pretty weird accents. And, But you know what? I love accents, actually. When I listen to ASMR, most of them are, like, especially, like, Maria. Her accent is amazing. And Gothic Whispers, I'm pretty sure she's from Ireland. And her accent is beautiful. I love it. And, like, people from the UK's accents are really pretty. But, I mean, I guess you don't notice it unless you actually live there. Your accent. But that's just a few facts about Texas. And, I mean, I might do a video about actual Texas, like, not just showing some myths that aren't true, like, what we like to eat. I mean, we love Mexican food, believe it or not. I love Mexican food. Taco Bell's awesome. If you don't know what that is, you are crazy. You need to go to Taco Bell. I mean, it's just, Texas is awesome. It's not, I mean, it is southern. It is a southern town. My dog's eating my sock. It is a southern town or state, but really Texas is my home, and Texas is awesome. Everything is bigger in Texas. That's true. That's definitely true. Everything's better in Texas. Texas definitely could have been its own country if it wanted to. Texas is very prideful and in a state, and everyone here is pretty prideful of Texas. No one, I mean, I haven't really heard anybody say any bad things about Texas. I mean, that's maybe because I live in Texas, but, I mean, Texas is awesome. Texas is definitely awesome. So, leave me some comments, asking me some questions if you got any. Leave me your comments, your ideas, or what have you. Any kind of slang. Daisy, get out of the closet. Come here. Any kind of slang questions if I said something that you didn't understand. Let me know, and I'll help you try to figure out what I meant. I know we talk in a lot of slang, and I could do a video about that too. The different slangs of Texas. But I've heard some pretty weird things in some videos about, like, what people in the UK call hair ties. I forgot what they called it. Something funky. It's called a hair tie. You put your hair, you tie it up in a hair tie. I cannot think of the word they said, but it was just so funny. I was dying laughing the whole time. I was like, what are they talking about? But, just leave me some comments or some questions if you got any about Texas slang. And that's it. Bye, guys.